Mr. Nagaraja Gundappa, welcome.
Thank you.
So he is a very seasoned professional. He calls himself the delivery excellence specialist, but he has many hats that he wears. He is a global executive who has worked in multiple continents. And how many project managers he has trained when he was in Wipro? 1,200. Big applause, sir. He is a trainer and he is also a speaker. He is also a certified black belt in Six Sigma. He is hands-on on ISO and CMMI. He has spoken in PMI events multiple times. And his topic is adapting PMBOK for digital platform projects. Welcome, sir.
Good morning, everybody, once again. Good morning. And welcome to this workshop once again. Just to add to, thanks for the nice introduction, Sujata. And just to add to the context, my area of specialization has been in delivery, which significantly includes project management. We have seen that from the era of project management for software application development, there was a product revolution, and we saw how project management had to be adapted to product management. So now, today, we are seeing a platform revolution, and quite soon, a lot of software project managers will have to start managing software projects which involve platform development. So what implication does it have for project management? How project management needs to be customized for platform development? So that is the topic of this presentation. Let me start by interacting with you, so you can please feel free to interact anytime and add ideas and points. What are software platforms? What are digital platforms? Just now in the introduction, Sujata made a mention of a few platforms: Oyo, Uber, and Ola, etc. So digital platforms are a software infrastructure where multiple parties, especially two parties such as the suppliers and consumers, come together and make transactions. So that is what we are going to see today. So what are what are digital platforms? What are their characteristics? How they are disrupting everything, etc. And so that's what we are going to see for the first 15 minutes or so. And we see how platform is a revolution, like how there was a product revolution earlier. And then now, what are the project dimensions, project management dimensions of the platform development? How different is the platform development? And we see that there is a paradigm shift in the project management angle. We will first see how project management got affected as a paradigm shift from application development to product development. We will take that analogy and extend it to see how project management is a paradigm shift for platform development. And then we will start walking through PMBOK. So many of you would be familiar with PMBOK. So we will walk through some of the knowledge areas and see what are the specific aspects of platform project management from the perspective of each knowledge area. So that's how we are going to see. So basically, the project management customization for platform development is presented through the uniqueness of each knowledge area for platform development. So that will be the overview of this presentation. Now, what is the definition of a platform? A platform includes a technology layer for creation and exchange of values, and a governance model to specify behavior on the platform. And then, platform has a goal: consummation of a match between providers and consumers, and creation and consumption of value objects. Okay, so let's take Ola. What is the value? So Ola is a software platform. There are consumers who are travelers. For them, what is the value add? One, commute actually, and then on top of it, there is a quickness with which they can get a ride. And for the providers, the drivers, the car owners, they are the providers. For them, work and earn whenever you want. That is the, earn money by working, that is the primary value add. And then on top of it, work whenever you want and switch off whenever you don't want. That's the secondary higher value add. So, so the platform has certain rules such as the pricing, etc. It has certain regulations for the drivers, right? So, so there's a governance, and then so this results in exchange of values. So essentially, the goal is to consummation of a match between providers and consumers. So consumer specifies from where to where the consumer would like to travel. The platform matches to the nearby drivers who want to provide that service. So that's a platform. Now, before I go ahead with other concepts in platform, I would like to invite ideas from you as to what are the other platforms that you would have seen. Swiggy, yeah, definitely. Food. IRCTC, yeah, IRCTC in a way, yes, because they also put together hotel owners with the railway travelers, yes. Quick Ride is, yes, exactly. Oyo, definitely. Book My Shop, yeah. Amazon, yes, Amazon is a platform. Flipkart is a platform. Yeah, you name an industry and there is a platform. And the platform is the biggest disruptor today. Why? For example, guess who's the biggest competitor for BMW? No, for BMW, it's not Porsche, it's not Ferrari, it's not Lamborghini who are the competitors. BMW has the biggest threat because people, it's not that people want to buy some other car manufactured by a competitor, but BMW market share is shrinking because people don't want to buy any car. Why parking hassle, why maintenance hassle, when you can easily get a BMW for hire. So what BMW is doing, I mean, it is Uber is disrupting. Uber, which doesn't own a single car, which is just a platform, is disrupting automobile industry. And to counter that, BMW is investing a whopping $1 billion into building its own platform in collaboration with Daimler Chrysler, where they are bringing together car owners, parking lot owners, and then the travelers. So there are multiple solutions and value addition that they want to introduce. So like how you have Airbnb, where house owners who have spare rooms can rent out their facilities. So car owners whose cars are idling in parking lot, they can rent out their car to some other people during their spare time. And basically the parking lot will also adapt to this business model, and that's how they are encouraging car buying. So in order to answer to the challenge posed by Uber. So platform revolution is happening. Now, what are some of the characteristics of these platforms? Let's see. One of the key characteristics is called network effects. What is network effect? When there are some consumers on the platform, they induce more buying, and the more buying induces more supply provision from the providers. For example, if you take the old world example, let's take the telephone. If there is just one phone, there will be no demand, because only when there are two phones, people can converse. So if there are more people who own phone, then it induces more people to buy phone and talk to each other. So the onboarding of more and more consumers has a viraling effect on other prospective consumers, and that's how people come onto platforms. So this is called as the network effects. Let's see another example. Let's take Android. There are Android is a platform, agreed? Because it brings together the app developers on one hand and app users and consumers on the other hand. So there will be app developers, and the because there are apps, people will start consuming. If that increases the consumers, because the increase in consumption, because there is market, other app developers develop more applications, and seeing that more people start consuming. So this has a ripple effect on. So this is called as the network effect. So where the suppliers and consumers feed on each other. Now we have seen that there is a platform revolution, but traditional products, can they also become platforms?
They do have like a challenge or a 5K run, 10K run.
Yeah.
And they come up with an app, smart gadgets for tracking the thing with the shoes. They
Correct.
come up with all the other features also to make it.
Right. Any other examples? Standard products, it need not be a software product, any product. They want to leverage the platform model.
Medical field.
Yeah.
I think a lot of innovations happened in the platforms area.
Correct.
So earlier we used to go to the lab and we had to queue blood samples and all. To come to home, they used to charge extra. But now, at the discounted price, even they are coming at home and collecting it, and their centralized lab facility they have, and they are processing it, and even providing the reports online.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Even the reports are available anytime. Even we no need to keep the records with us all the time.
Yeah. Right. A platform, I mean, what you're saying is a step towards the platform, but a platform is much more than that. A platform needs to necessarily bring together multiple parties.
Yeah.
So, for example, Nike is a shoe. A shoe is a product.
Yeah.
Right. Now, what they are doing is, as our friend suggested, they are incorporating instrumented shoes, so which can track your GPS and how long. I mean, it has accelerometer and everything. So it can track how much you have walked or how much you have run and how much calories you have burnt. And then that data can be uploaded to a platform where Nike platform. There are several people who register on the platform, and their data is uploaded, and people network on the platform. Okay, so not only does that, so it has connected mobile devices. So the shoe is connected to the platform, and then mobile is also connected to the platform. So you register, you buy a Nike shoe, instrumented Nike shoe, and you also have that Nike app on your mobile. And so you connect to several users who are using Nike shoe. You interact with each other. You form a social connection, and these people create a peer pressure and a peer marketing, and they induce other users to buy such system. So Nike platform, they take care of so many things. So the platform will track the individual's data. It poses challenges like, at one point of time, Virat Kohli challenged Modi to try something out. Modi did that, and he challenged H.D. Kumaraswamy to do something. So essentially, this social concept of challenge has become a little famous, right? I do something very unique and special, and I challenge some other person to do that. They will do it, and they will take it in a sportive way. They do it, and they upload their picture or movie, video where they have done that, and then that creates a viraling effect. So this is where somebody can say, oh, yeah, I ran 5 kilometers, I ran 100 kilometers, and all that. So so this is going on big time. Okay. So this is where the network effect is coming into picture. For example, one of the organizations, Shell India, they have a huge fitness. They are highly into fitness. So there are people who are weighing 145 kgs, etc. They have reduced to 75 kgs. Yeah, I mean, somebody said one Tirumala Hills, there are about 3,200 steps for those who are not familiar with the Tirumala Hills. He had taken 4.5 hours to climb through that many steps. And after this challenge, he climbed it in 45 minutes. I mean, there was a couple of years of transformation that happened. So yeah, there is a lot of rubbing off effect that is happening. Now, there is another spectacle provider. Warby Parker, so they say they have a scheme called Try 5 and they have a platform. So what happens is they encourage their consumers to register themselves on the platform. So you register on the Warby Parker platform, you order spectacles, they'll send you a pack of 5. What you do is you wear each spectacle, take a selfie, upload it onto the platform and ask your friends, how do I look? So there are 5. So your friends upvote or downvote each, each option, and then based on whichever option has got the maximum likes, you keep that and return the remaining 4 spectacles. So a spectacle is a product, but they're leveraging the platform model to sell the products. Now this has a network effect. So if I'm buying a spectacle and I'm inviting people to comment on that, in a way I'm doing marketing also. So this is how the network effect works for Uber. So if there are more drivers, then it results in better geographical coverage, and because of that there will be faster pickups, because of the geographic coverage I can get a driver who is located nearby, and it ensures a faster pickup, and then it creates more demand. So more and more people are now preferring to ride by Uber than by their own transportation. And hence, so now if there is more demand, then there is a lower driver downtime. So a driver is always occupied, and that results in lower prices, and again lower price can again create more demand. So this is how the iteratively the ripple effect happens and the market gets developed. So to sum it up, what are platforms? One, a set of business and technology building blocks that serve as the foundation for building complementary products and services, whether it is food, whether it is hotel rooms or any books or whatever. Then they have a set of resources used in common across product family that are also subject to network effects. So in Ola it is a ride which is a resource, and in software platforms, for example Amazon, you have access to Amazon software resources. They have published APIs. You can build your own app based on those APIs. So they provide hardware and software resources also. So there are a set of common resources, and most importantly, it has an open standard. It has a governance. So there are do's and don'ts on the platform. So if you don't follow a certain rule, you will be thrown off the platform. For example, there is a platform called Fiverr.com, where they started with you can provide any service and you charge $5 for it. So they started with that concept, and one of the ground rule there is the service provider cannot supply contact information. They have to always work through the platform. So if they can exchange a lot of information with the consumer, but if they are caught providing their email ID, phone number or any contact detail, then they will be disqualified. So they will be thrown off the platform. So there are platform governance. So Facebook has, you cannot upload violent information, offending information, etc. So there are platform governance rules that operate. Now the concept of platform, it's a revolution because it has affected each and every segment of the industry or each and every pillar of the industry. So companies used to be evaluated based on their assets, and which could be soft assets as well as hard assets, which are infrastructure assets. But now they are valued based on the number of users. Flipkart and companies after company, they are posting losses quarter on quarter, but their evaluation is going up and the stock prices are going up because their revenues are increasing, and most importantly their user base is increasing. So there is a paper, I will provide my contact details at the end of this session. You are welcome to keep in touch with me. So there is a paper published by one person by name Ashwath Narayan, who is a global expert on the platforms. called the value of a free user. Okay, you have a platform and you have n number of free users. So even if you don't have revenues and profits, you will still be valued very highly. The point in case is WhatsApp's takeover by Facebook, and the deal size was about $4 billion, right? If I remember right, 19 billion, yeah, $19 billion, and they didn't have that much revenues at all. Still, so what was valued was the free users, number of free users. So that is how the companies are being valued. So the company valuations are changing. Now, marketing. So instead of the product owners taking onus on sending out the messages, which was push based, now it is pull. It is the consumers who are doing the marketing through the network effects. So it is more inbound marketing. Human resources, there is more and more dependence on external large service providers than depending on own employees. Amazon started building their platform with their employees, but that model started limiting their capabilities. So they standardized their interfaces and opened it up for public, and now the public or the third parties are contributing to the development of the platform. So more and more work is done by external communities than by internal employees. R&D. So same way, innovation is also done through crowdsourcing. IT, so from back office ERP, there is a shift now to front office CRM. Same way, supply chain and logistics, strategy, there are entry barriers and enmity. The business strategy to curb competition was to raise the entry barriers, but now it's different. You build an ecosystem. If you already have the ecosystem, then that creates the entry barrier for other platform owners. So platform revolution has affected every segment and every pillar of the industry. And in terms of predictions, Forrester is predicting that the platform industry is expected to grow to $1.2 trillion by 2021. So which is a huge, there is a lot of market expansion that has happened in North America and Asia, and it is catching up in Europe and Africa and Latin America. There are different types of platforms. The standard platform that we see are called two-sided platforms. Okay, there are consumers and there are providers. So if there is one type of provider who provide one type of value, and the consumers are one type of consumers who consume the same value, then it's called a two-sided platform. So most platforms that we see, Ola, Uber, Oyo, they're all two-sided platforms. There are multi-sided platforms. For example, LinkedIn started as a two-sided platform where the consumers upload their resumes and the job providers, they post their job postings. The providers can search through the resume and they can push. I mean, they can contact the prospective job seeker. On the other hand, the job seekers can also approach the job providers. So these are the two sides. But now there are content experts who have come in and providing content to help job seekers to get better job opportunities. So now there is one more angle to it. So there are, so basically now on one hand it was a resume, job seeker, but now service, a lot of people are searching for services. So for example, if I am a training provider and by uploading my resume on LinkedIn, I am creating an inbound marketing. So people who are interested in my services, my type of the training programs which I provided, they ask for my services. So there are multiple values that are being exchanged between consumers and providers. There are different types of providers and different types of services. On the other hand, there is a single-sided platform also. For example, Google is a single-sided platform because platform development is essentially a software project because it's a digital project by the end of the day. So like how in the olden days, an average project manager may be managing an application development project, but there could be a sizable number who could be managing a product development project also. So today, any of us can land up becoming a project manager for a platform development as an end-to-end project, or maybe involved in some aspect of platform development. So because of that, this is a paradigm shift. Now, why it's a paradigm shift? Earlier in the product, so there was a producer and the consumer. The unit of value used to be owned by the product owner, but now there is no ownership. Producer does not own the platform. That is, the car owner does not own the platform, and the platform does not own any products. So Uber, Ola don't own any car. Oyo doesn't own any hotel. Amazon doesn't own any book, etc. So that's why this is a platform shift from the industry perspective. Now, before we look at what is the project management implication that this has, can I draw some opinions from you as to what could possibly be the potential implications on project management? Or if I can simplify the question, back in the 90s, the Indian software industry started heavily in application development and maintenance, right? But towards the late 90s and the early 2000s, there was a boom in software product development, and at that time, people started managing the product development projects in the same way as application development projects, and they realized that, hey, this is altogether a different ball game, right? And we have to do it differently, and they started doing it differently. Now, how did product development differ from application development?
It's the same.
Okay, same. Let me discuss about that point. But if there are people who think that it's different,
there will be continuous developments, kind of.
Okay.
But in the case of product, there will be kind of a stop and release kind of.
Okay.
I think the biggest thing what I observed between application and a product is, in the application development, there is a one owner who is paying for everything. But in the product, it's like a investment is been done, but the cost will be distributed to the several users.
Okay.
You may get supply today cars on the platform, tomorrow it could be the car accessories, day after tomorrow the consumer could be the owner who is buying it or who is renting it. So platform has a flexibility which has to be built into it to take care of supply side as well as demand side.
Sure, perfect. Yeah, so basically all these are valid points, but then I would disagree with the point that it is the same. In the very, if you look at the very essence, yeah, software product is the same as software application, but the project management angle changes for a number of reasons. One is, when there was a product revolution that happened, the requirement volatility was significantly higher in product side, because when you develop an application, it is typically for an in-house usage of a brick and mortar company, whereas when you are developing a product, it is for the consumption of the public at large, and hence the requirements visualization was more vague, and the requirement changes was influenced by more external factors for software products than the application development. Application development requirements used to be influenced by a set of few internal stakeholders, whereas product development for product features were influenced by a large set of external factors. Now, so you had to do, this meant that it led to different life cycle models. Agile came at a later point of time, you are right in that, but then the concept of a spiral life cycle model, then the iterative and incremental models came into picture at that time. So to exactly manage the complexities of developing software products. For application development, requirements document was the starting point, Okay, so the moment you kick off a project, you go elicit requirements, create a requirements document, and then you go on to develop the application. Whereas for a product, you first develop a vision document with a product roadmap, and then for a single project or a single instance of that roadmap, you go ahead and create elicit requirements, create a requirements document and go ahead with the development. So there are a number of things that changed for product development. So similarly, for platform development, so there would be certain things that will be different. So I would be presenting the changes, the project management angle of platforms from the perspective of PMBOK, knowledge areas of PMBOK. So one is integration management. Integration management is where we deal with the project charter. That's where we deal with the business goal of the project, etc. Business case is an input to the project charter if you look at the PMBOK perspective. So this is where platform management is significantly different from either product development or product management or an application management. So how? Because the level of success that you have to target is different here. What do I mean by level of success? Projects can have different levels of success. So recently we had published one paper on how we can define different levels of project success in one of the PMI conferences. A project is said to be successful at level 1 if the project meets the deliverable quality requirement. For example, the Bangalore Metro, if the construction quality and the train quality, if it is good, then it is successful at level 1. Level 2 would be if the project is successful from the perspective of the project management parameters. So if the project is completed on time, under budget, to the satisfaction of the customer, so CSAT, these are the 3 parameters. If it is delivered according within these parameters, then it is successful at level 2. So level 3, if the business or organizational goals are met. So this is where most products relied. So the application for application development, the success level was predominantly level 1 and level 2. For business and for products, it used to be at level 3, where the business and organizational goals are met. For example, if you take the Bangalore Metro example, if the Metro Corporation starts operating the trains, and if they make enough money, if they have profit margins, and because of their construction in one city, if they are getting projects through reference in other cities, then it is successful from the organizational perspective. However, level 4, a project is said to be successful at level 4 only when it meets the goals on the social context. For example, a metro project is successful at level 4 only when it is successful in changing the habits of the commuters so that there is less traffic on the road. More people should prefer traveling through metro than through their own transportation, so that the traffic on the road is reduced. So that way, that is success at level 4. Now, for platforms, success at level 4 is a necessity. For products, so many products, they did not transform the society, okay, but still they made enough money. So that would have been the goal. So that is level 3 is the goal, whereas for this one, there has to be a change in the social habits of at least a segment, social segment. So success at level 4 is mandatory. Now, why is this important? Again, if any of you are interested, I would like, it's available on the PMI website. I will still, forward you the reference or the paper. The level of success that you target in a project influences everything. It affects your project contract, number 1. Number 2, it affects how you constitute your team. So you have, third, the accountability of the project team changes. So based on the success level that you have to target and you are held accountable for. Now, let's say, let's look at the requirements management and the scope. Now, essentially, there is always a theoretical debate, which I will not get into, whether if you are a trained, if you are a PMP certified project manager, can you just walk into any field and start managing the project? The theoretical answer is yes, okay, because you can get all the technical knowledge from the team. However, if the team cannot provide you matured inputs for project management, you will not be able to do that. So you need some industry knowledge. So similarly, if any person walks into managing a platform project, they have to understand basically what are the typical requirements, or what are the some of the scope breakdown structure elements. So let's look at some of them. One is, let's say I am taking the healthcare platform as an example, where there are service providers who are healthcare service providers, and then there are people who consume these services, who are either proactive health seekers or patients. Now, what is the value a healthcare advice or an actual product that is delivered would be of value, and how do they monetize? What is the value that is exchanged? That needs to be clear, okay, from the beginning. And what we also have to ensure is, are we clear about how does the platform make money? Okay, for example, in Ola, Uber and all this, they hold a percentage of the transaction money that is exchanged. Okay, and then, so basically in the monetization, we have to look through the payment models, reward points, etc. Now, so this is how we break down the structure into. On LinkedIn, for example, we have the free members, premium members, okay. And then, for example, if we take Adobe, they also have they built a platform. Adobe initially started with the supply side selling their product to the consumers as well as suppliers, but their market didn't take off. So what they did is, they made it free for consumers, so which raised the demand, and then they started charging the service providers who will who will use the Adobe tools to create documents so that their suppliers, their consumers will consume it in a standard format. So basically, whether are you earning your money, who are you charging, who you are not charging, and what are your licensing models, membership models, subscription models, etc., how you are earning money, whether through advertisements or premium memberships, etc., those things have to be clear, and that's another part of monetization, and all these things will have to be implemented in the software down the line. Okay. Networking, so what are the networking, how does the networking work? So for example, if you look at Netflix, there is a content rating. For example, in Facebook, it is the posts and then liking and sharing on the network that is facilitating the network, etc. Security and access control, governance. So how do you govern and what should be your governance rules, etc. So these are the areas where a project manager will have to focus, explore, and get clarity on. So this is just a illustrative. But for specific platforms, you may have many more elements in the scope breakdown structure. Okay. So this scope breakdown structure also points to where we can anticipate requirement changes and work proactively. Okay. So for example, in any high volatility project, we have to be proactive in identifying where the requirement changes can come from and what we can do proactively about it. So, so we have to look at where the so these are the typical things that we have to consider. The scope breakdown structure also helps us to identify the stakeholders and source of requirement changes as well. So that's something we can do something about the requirement changes proactively. So what are some of the activity breakdown structure? Of course, a real project will have hundreds of activities, but then these could be at the milestone level activity headings. Conceptualizing value search and indexing scheme. So how do I, for example, in Ola, I don't have to do search, I just have to specify where I have from the source and destination of my travel, and the platform does the search on its own. Whereas on Google, it's a different way of searching. On Facebook or Amazon, it's a different way of searching. So how is the value exchanged on the platform, indexed and searched? So that has to be finalized. Monetization will have to be modeled. What are the different ways monetization is done, how the payment is made, etc. So it is different in different models. For example, in Fire, the money is given to the platform, I mean to the service provider through the platform, whereas in Ola and Uber we can pay directly pay the cash. So essentially monetization needs to be modeled, design networking relationships, subscription and registration model has to be done, obtain legal clearance, biggest hurdle, design governance policies, workflow design to enforce the governance policies, so there is a workflow involved here, design the matrix for role based access and content rating mechanism, etc. And while developing the platforms, what are the typical cost heads? Let's look at them. One is for human resource costs. What are the type of staff we require? One is domain experts. If we are developing a healthcare platform, we need healthcare experts. The administration staff for governance. So for example, Facebook has hundreds of people who, apart from artificial intelligence tools, they sieve through all the violent and offending content and they filter it out. So for enforcing governance, you need staff. The software development and maintenance, and then the infrastructure, the servers and other software necessary to host the platform. You need the hardware resources, the hosting, software resources, and then you will have consultancy charges, because getting legal clearance is a big, handling legal matters is a big this one. You know the examples of Ola, Uber, cab drivers, if they do something criminal, then how the platform owners have to respond to that. You need legal experts and legal advice. And we will have real estate and office infrastructure cost. Now, what are some of the skill sets from a technical standpoint that we require to manage platform projects? Data sciences, because it is the data which makes the evaluation of platform go higher. So we need data science experts to manage the data. We need AI and machine learning to enforce governance, domain knowledge, then database design and administration skills, IT infrastructure setup and administrative skills, software development, depending on which platform architecture you are using, and knowledge of agile methodologies including DevOps is mandatory, because platform is developed and managed on the go. So security, and sometimes IoT knowledge is also required if the platform demands it. For example, Ola, Uber, they track the car on the go. So if a specific platform involves multiple devices, you need IoT related skills as well. Then what are some of the common risks for platforms? One is security breach. So if data is stolen or if there is a privacy breach, then there is a common risk. So privacy compromise, server breakdown because of data volume, inability to get legal clearance. So that's one of the biggest hurdles. That happened recently, about a year back with Ola. They said we are cancelling the license for Ola, and I presume that some settlement outside the unofficial settlement would have been made, and then that license revocation was cancelled. Then most importantly, seeding the platform may not happen. There is what is called as seeding. So for example, let's say you want to launch a platform similar to Facebook. Now for the network effect to happen, there is a minimum threshold of users who have to start doing it. Now if that doesn't happen, the platform doesn't take off. So how do you ensure the minimum threshold? If it doesn't happen, then the platform will be a business failure. So that's one of the biggest risks. Then who are the, from a stakeholder management perspective, who are the typical stakeholders for platform management? Of course, the consumer and producer representative groups. Because this involves public, we cannot involve every public, public in the development. But then there has to be people from the sales and marketing department who represent the consumers, who interact closely with the consumers and represent consumers for the development team. And there will be other people from the sales and marketing who will interact closely with the producers, and then they will represent the producers for the software development team. Then they have the government departments, the IT ministry, health ministry, environmental ministry, and so on. Lawyers and other legal intermediaries. So they will decide what should be some of your features and requirements, etc. And the domain experts, technical staff, sponsor, sales staff, marketing staff. These are the, I mean, they're all standard stakeholders for most projects. So these are some of the typical stakeholders. So, that brings us to the close of this presentation.
A proper policy framework also is necessary, because from platforms we are basically providing services.
Right.
Like for the transport one, you cannot just arbitrarily say that I'm closing down the transport service of a particular platform. So I think it was basically because there is still no policy framework for transport providers, or I mean even for retail. So one government comes in and it's on the whims of that government that what sort of policy should, because platform, it's a large investment. Absolutely. And one cannot make that investment unless there is clarity and also sustenance of that this thing, in the future as well.
Yeah, I agree with you completely. There has to be a two-way commitment there has to be a legal binding two-way. One is the government cannot simply shut down a platform because it affects so many people. And on the other hand, even the platform owners also, they also cannot shut down. For example, if there is a business loss, they also cannot shut down the platform all of a sudden. So there has to be some legal binding on both the sides that will protect the behavior, social behavior in future. I would agree with that.
Platform is available free of cost for the users. But legal implications, that is couple of times it's not very clear that people the platform provider may say that I'm not making any money, then how I am responsible, like.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so there has to be, the lawmakers have to pay more attention to platforms, because that's defining our social life nowadays. Yes, definitely agreed.
Many thanks for the great session. Can we give a big applause? Thank you, sir, for enlightening us on the platform development, which I think all of you would have enjoyed and would have seen how it affects the network effect of the platform and how the business scaling happens with that. Great topic. Now I would like to invite Srivatsa, who is our VP Technology at PMI Bangalore chapter, to facilitate Mr. Nagaraja.